Alright, yo, hello and welcome everybody. What is going on? So, quite interesting news in my opinion. Now, we have been linked to Carrasco, obviously Atletico Madrid player. And, well, I don't know where to start really because we have been linked and it's by AS. So, AS are actually linking us to him. They were just Spanish outlet, Spanish newspaper. And they've been linking us to him. Now, apparently, Diego Simeone, who's obviously the Atletico Madrid head coach, he is willing to sell Carrasco. He's given the the go ahead to sell Carrasco, but his release clause is at 100 million euros. Now, obviously, us buying a winger, us buying someone for the wings is a very, very important. It's a very, very important piece of business that we have to do. That we'll have to obviously look at in the next few days as well, as well as the next few months. For a long term, you're hoping for a long-term project. You're not hoping to buy a winger, for just 1 or 2 years. You're hoping for them to actually be here, which is why Douglas Costa has been such a failure to us. Not perhaps because of his ability-wise, but much more because obviously he's only been here for a year and then he left, or 2 years I should say, and then he left. So we're looking for somebody that can really take over the torch that Robin and Ribery both held so highly. Now, with us obviously signing or extending Coman's contract, which I'll make a separate video on, just because I actually not so much on like Coman extending his contract, but much more about what that could mean for Bayern in the future. I'll make a video on that once I have some time. As you can probably tell, I'm not at home right now. I'm at my grandparents, so the internet isn't really that good. So long videos, take even a 5-minute video takes me like 5 hours to upload. So it is what it is ultimately. But with the Yannick Carrasco news, again, his buyout clause is 100 million. Now you could argue that we may negotiate to get down to like 50 or 60 million, which obviously comes in line as well with what Uli Hoeneß recently said, where he said we're willing to spend 50, 60, 70 million euros for a player, but it won't go like 100 million. Obviously recent purchases such as Renato Sanchez, James. I mean, it's a loan still until you actually buy him, but Renato Sanchez, James, and you look at like a more recent purchases such as Costa as well. Then you have Vidal, Goetze. You have a lot of players that we bought in the last 5 years, perhaps, which we bought for quite a lot of money. And it's clear that we're spending more and more money now. The question is whether we're adjusting to the market. Now that's a different question, a question that I won't really be able to answer until I see if the market crashes or not. But yeah, right now we're spending in areas that we need. We have been linked to a lot of midfielders, but we haven't really been linked to that many wingers. And Carrasco is honestly the first one so far that we've been linked to. Carrasco, while last year I probably would have said, okay, 80 million, I'm fine with that. This year I'm a little bit, wary. This year I'm like, okay, maybe not. We're looking pretty good. Obviously, we still need to replace Robin and Ribery, but I don't think we need to actually get a signing this January. I'm generally not a fan of January signings just because, they can't, most of the time, they can't play in competitions. So I would wait until the summer, personally, and then, see what we can get. Then, see what we can go for, because quite frankly, in the summer, there's going to be available players. Players move, players transfer, and there's going to be players available. So I would wait personally until the summer. But what do you guys think? Should we go for Carrasco? Should we not? No, like I said, it is a few, last year ago, I would have said, let's go for him. But this year, he hasn't. The fact that he's been sold should really tell you a message, he hasn't really been that good. And surprisingly, Coman has been much better than I thought he would be. So take it with a grain of salt. Take this news with a grain of salt. Of course, it might not be that accurate. We're just being linked with. We're just being linked by AS. Not the most reliable source. Not really that bad either. They're just kind of like a mediocre. I wouldn't even call it mediocre. Just call it like a 50-50 source, where like half the things that they say actually have some truth to them, and half the things they say are just totally made up. Basically, like most newspapers, in all fairness. Most your standard newspapers, half the stuff that they make up, half the stuff are what they make up, and half the stuff actually have some truth to it. So like I said, take this with a grain of salt. But I thought it was quite interesting to talk about because, quite frankly, he's the only winger that we've actually been linked with, and I feel like we should be linked with so many more wingers right now. We should be linked with a lot of wingers. If you're willing to spend 70 million, or up to, I should say, up to 70 million. Or let's just say, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus, right, if we're willing to spend 60 million plus we should be linked to a lot of wingers. There's a lot of good wings, a lot of great wingers, a lot of very talented wingers out there that, you know, we've not been linked with, that wouldn't even cost like a fortune. There's a lot of, you know, good ones in Ligue 1, for example. I can think of like 3 right on the top of my head. Then you have a few from La Liga. I can also think about like 2 or 3 on the top of my head. 3 really. I mean, the second one isn't well. 2 really. The third one isn't really a prospect, or, you know, someone that would be very cheap. The third one would be quite expensive. And from Bundesliga itself, I can think of a few. So there are a lot of players available now. Obviously, the fans, you know, we always want the best, so we always want the club to spend as much money as possible, because usually that as much money as possible means, you know, to get the best players available as possible. But I've learned to just be like, you know what, regardless who the club buys, it somehow turns out. Like, who'd have thought that Rui would have been this well? I certainly didn't. Now he's obviously had his flaws and whatnot, but I certainly didn't expect him to do this well. Coleman, obviously he was on a lot of people's radar when he played for Juventus, even when he played for PSG. But, you know, although he's had some struggles at Bayern so far, he's now really looked comfortable. He looked really good. So personally, you know, whatever the club goes for, I'm honestly just gonna be okay. I'm honestly just gonna be okay with. But anyway, that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts on the whole Carrasco deal. That's my thoughts on the whole us going after Carrasco. I don't think it's that credible until I see someone like Build, someone like Sport Build, someone like T said, someone like Kickers, you know, someone with actual credibility, someone who I can say, okay, you know what, there might be something to it. Unless I can see one of these sites or one of these newspapers or one of, you know, these TV stations say something like that, then I'll be 100% behind it. Then I'll be 100% okay, you know, looking more into it. But right now it's just like, yeah, just a newspaper thing. You're talking about a player. It's the transfer window. They've got nothing better to do right now. Darts is on TV and not football. And Wright looks like he's losing against Lewis. I'm just hoping for a Van Gerwen win, in all honesty. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that was all I have to say. That's all I have for you guys today. And like I said, my next video will probably be a video about Coleman, just because I want to talk about like what that actually means for the club going forward. Not so much, you know, not so much him extending his contract, because I think that was always likely, but just much more about what that means for the club in general, because he's got quite a good contract. Quite a very good contract, I'd say. But anyway, I'll see you guys next time, and until then, peace out and have a nice day. Bye.